Okay, hello, my friends. There are two big stories right now that I want to cover with you. First, there's 1,860 Russians off the battlefield, an incredibly high number. And the second is kind of an update about what's going on in across the Russian border in Belgorod. So let's start here with the 1,860 figure. That's very high. I mean, that's very, very high. If we look at this day over day, there's now an average of 1301. It just bumped up from 12 something to 1301 for the month of March as average casualties. So 1,800. There's been nothing like it. Yesterday was 16. Before that was 12, and it's been down in 12s and maybe upwards of 14. But that's you have to go all the way back to January 22nd to find anything close to that figure. 18 on the 10th, 19 on the 7th. 22nd, 1950. That's the highest. This is a pretty high figure. So something seems like it's changing. It's too early to tell because only a couple of days worth of this, but it seems like something is changing on the battlefield. 17 tanks, 61 armored fighting vehicles, 122 artillery systems, 210 vehicles and fuel tanks. So this number being this high with this number being this high, I mean, I'm hard pressed to remember when I saw this number at 200 before. I don't know that I have ever seen it at 200 before. So something is changing on the battlefield. Okay, they attacked last night. The Russians attacked Ukraine with 163 Shahed drones, of which 89 were shot down. Another 51 were suppressed by electronic warfare or lost in location. Now, Russian Defense Ministry accuses Ukraine of a HIMARS strike on the Sudzha gas station in Russia's Kursk region, claiming it was virtually destroyed and violated Trump's proposed energy ceasefire. So it looks like it was hit again. I don't know why. I mean, it was already pretty well destroyed or pretty well inoperable, but I don't know. Like there are speculations and comments about that it was false flag or that it was accidental or it just reignited or I have no idea what it was. But it seems like a stupid thing just on the face of it to attack, to destroy a peace plan if you're trying to show that you're the good guys. So I'm not sure what happened here, but it seems that why would Ukraine do that? Okay. Then you see this. Watch Russia's horrifying double tap strategy in Kherson captured on video. First, they shell civilians. Then they hunt them with drones as they flee while targeting the ambulances and the first responders. 2 killed, 6 injured. I want you to hear this. This is the buzzing of the drones as the drones are coming in. So the drone is clearly descending, and it's looking for fire engines, and that's what they're doing in Kherson. Now that's what they're doing there, and they're shelling Kherson's railway station and energy infrastructure today, killing 2 people. Zelensky calls it a violation and says the U.S. must take action as promised. So the Russians are actually doing this, and it's going to go with impunity. Like nothing's going to happen. If you think that a ceasefire agreement's like right around the corner, I just don't see it. I mean, maybe you're right and I'm wrong. I just don't see it. In the cross direction, Russian invaders led 57 assaults. This is reasonably high, and I would say it's correlated with this number here of the 1,860. But yesterday it was up to the 80s, so it was even higher than 70s, 80s. I don't remember what it was. It was pretty high. So again, there's something changing on the battlefield. Okay. Here are some Russians riding into battle. Now, they have not so great vehicles to get them there. But again, the Ukrainians are also out of, vehicles. They need NAFO trucks and things along those lines in order to get where they're trying to go to get to the battle line. Russians are also preparing almost 75-year-old Gaz-69. These are produced or have not been produced since 1952 for sending folks to the front. The state-of-the-art in 2025 assault vehicle. Russia unveils its latest battlefield and innovation because these Gaz-69s have anti-drone protection. It's truly cutting edge for 1950s. So that's where they are. There's a blank load of broken equipment here. Russian soldiers are showing another road where this is just video driving down the road, seeing these abandoned or destroyed vehicles all over the place. That's what it looks like. Now, residents of Sudzha are telling what it seems to be a foreign correspondent how it really was when Ukrainian fighters took the town. Unsurprisingly, their accounts differ sharply from the staged tales of Polish mercenary rapists filmed by Russian propagandists. So this lady's just saying, my friend was there sitting there too. She was very sick. I said to them to greet us, but could you at least bring us some bread? And they brought it. They brought us bread and water. And in other places, they were saying, well, did they touch you? No, they just drove by and they waved as they were driving here and there and whatever, which is a very different tale than what the Russians have been telling in state propaganda, trying to make it look like there were some terrible war crimes there.
Process bill.
Okay, there we are. Ukrainian forces destroyed strategic bridges in Russian Belgorod Oblast. BBC reported that the Ukrainian operation in Belgorod Oblast has been ongoing for a week, with deep state reports that Ukraine now controls 13 square kilometer gray zone in the Oblast. Not as big. I mean, the other one was, 1,000 and some odd square kilometers. But still, they're over the border in Russia. Like, that's the big story. That's the headline. It's not that big of a thing, but it's still a thing, and it's requiring the Russians to have to attend to the incursion there as well. Ukrainian forces initiated a quiet offensive into Russia's Belgorod Oblast, aiming to disrupt Russian troop concentrations near Ukraine's Sumy border. While scale is smaller than previous ops, it caught Russian defenses off guard. Okay. Look for Sumy and Kherson to be the next big battlefront. That's everything that I'm reading keeps telling me that particular thing. Okay. In occupied Mariupol, authorities have begun construction of a military center called Warrior on the site of the former children's camp. It reports its purpose is not recreation, but the militarization of Ukrainian children. Here, they'll be taught to shoot, parachute, lay mines, operate drones. The goal is to turn children into soldiers for a foreign army. It's a systematic destruction of identity. So, yeah, turn Ukrainian children into Russian soldiers to fight Ukrainians. That's the idea. Now, there was another interesting article here related to that. The U.S. funding for abducted Ukrainian children program was restored temporarily. The White House is still terminating the initiative, but for right now, they're going to turn it back on, let you evacuate the material that you have. A Yale University research program tracking Russian child abductions in Ukraine receives last-minute funding extension. So part of what happened here, this is a follow-up article on the same kind of thing. The United States has temporarily restored a program that collected information on the forced deportation of Ukrainian children to Russia. So it's temporary. It's going to shut off. But right now, they're going to be able to get it into Interpol's hands or something along those lines. The White House has renewed funding for 6 weeks, the period it would take to hand over all the data to Europol. The database contained files of thousands of Ukrainian children who were abducted and taken to Russian territory by the occupiers after the war began. The Washington Post notes that the data of the deported children has been preserved. The contractor, Quiet Professionals, kept the repository despite the lack of instructions from the State Department when the funding just was turned off. So they have it. They're trying to make sure it gets into the right hands before it gets ultimately shut down. Okay, so you remember when there was an incident where there was a pipeline where the Russian soldiers pushed through it and it didn't work out well for them. Most of them died either of some kind of asphyxiation or they were killed at the end when the drones attacked them. Okay, so the Kremlin now has created pipe hysteria across Russia, with Russians lining up to crawl through a replica of the gas pipeline in which around 800 Russian soldiers were sent to their deaths in last month's failed military operation near Sudzha. So, like, this is becoming a thing in Russia. This is what the Russian population are lining up to do. Noel reports this as Russia, the world's biggest cult, has a new ritual, a blessed pipeline, now symbolizing how Russians tried to enter, and where lots of them died, in Sudzha. Now stands at a church entrance, and pilgrims crawl through it for purification and grace. Great. Okay. Here's an inspection of the pipelines from the point of view of drones. This is how drones could get into something like this. And there's not really big holes here, but the drones can still get through into here and navigate right in. It's like, and then these are smaller pipelines, I think, than the pipelines that these guys had to go through in Sudzha. Yeah. Okay. I saw this a couple days ago, but this is still worth noting. One of the things that people have been trying to do is create like shotgun drones, and it hasn't worked very well with the FPV drones, the quadcopters. But they have now fixed wings with shotguns
It
on
appears
them.
that
It's
the drone's
pretty
flight
interesting.
isn't impacted by the recoil of the gun. From the fuselage design, it appears that the drone will not be using the counterweight recoilless gun designs that we've seen used on quadcopter gun arm drones so far. It's likely that the Zigzag is powerful enough to fire conventional style shotgun barrels and withstand the recoil. In the video, we can see
Yeah,
the
how
aiming.
about that? Okay, so drone technology just keeps improving, clearing the sky of Russian drones. Here, again, I never tire of these kind of videos. And then this is a vampire drone, and look what this thing can carry. That's pretty significant. Okay, and that's it with the drones for now. First time I kind of laughed at a left wing meme this person has posted where he's what is that brush? It's I know my audience is mostly male. Blush, is that what it is? The brush, but using Cheetos in order to do that. Okay, that's actually kind of funny. Now, yesterday I posted this. This was a video about, it was just AI and memes that we've seen that just I've never talked about before. It just didn't fit in some place. So very funny memes and AI generated clips. If you want to see that, I'll post this at the very end. Last couple of things: Jake Bro's Invictus Unconquerable campaign. I didn't talk about it yesterday. I just didn't have the bandwidth to slip this in at the very end. I had to move through other things. So day before yesterday, it was at $786,000 of the $1 million campaign. And as of today, right now, it's at $970,000 of its $1 million campaign at 97% complete. If you want to give to this, the link will be below. Help 99, that is the NAFO group that puts these on. It also has these campaign prints, 160 campaigns. This is the campaigns that NAFO has done so far. And if you look right here in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see our campaign right here in the lower right-hand corner, right? That's where we are. All right. That's all, my friends. That's all that I have for you right now. Thank you for your time, the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. And thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.